at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee just a while ago, and it's interesting to point out that a major theme there was strength versus weakness in terms of their perception of Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Of course, Joe Biden is no longer in the race, and it's a little bit harder to make that argument when Kamala Harris is a prosecutor, 20 years his junior, and Donald Trump is trying to become the oldest person ever inaugurated as president.
Our own Dan Hagan is outside the United Center in Chicago with more on Biden's remarks. Dan?
Hi, Jake. The DNC Night 1 just wrapped up with President Joe Biden giving his full-throated endorsement of Kamala Harris. And one really poignant thing that he said, Joe Biden has had a long career. He said the best decision he made in his entire career was putting Kamala Harris on the ticket 4 years ago.
Newswatch 12's Dan Hagan is outside the Pfizer Forum with more.
Hi, Jake. I was here just a month ago for the Republican National Convention, and Republicans across the country were excited and confident about victory this November. However, a lot has changed in the last month. The top of the ticket, most notably, now has Kamala Harris, and Democrats are excited. I spoke to a few of them before the event this evening to hear why they decided to come out today.
With more. Dan, good evening.
Hi, Jake. I'm in the midst of the Wisconsin delegation here at the United Center, and I'm joined by Liz and Jan. They are two delegates from Stevens Point. Okay, one word to describe the convention so far.
Joy. Excellent.
Fantastic. We'll talk to you more a little bit later, but I do want to talk about who's going to be speaking this evening, and that'll be Governor Tim Walz. Kamala Harris chose him as her running mate.
Oh, Dan, what did Walz focus on?
Well, Jake, he focused on his humble origins. He grew up in Butte, Nebraska, home to just around 400 people, only 24 people in his graduating class.
Our own Dan Hagan joins us live from the floor of the United Center, Chicago, with more. Dan?
Hi, Jessica. This is the biggest moment in Kamala Harris's career. She will have the chance this evening to talk to millions of Americans, some of them still undecided. From reporting, I've learned that she is trying to focus on reclaiming patriotism for the Democratic ticket, as well as telling her life story and focusing on the future, not the past. So like I said, Kamala Harris will have a huge audience tonight. One of the people in attendance are Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. David, how are you doing?
I'm ecstatic, I am elated, I am filled with joy, and I'm so glad to be here.
What do you want Kamala Harris to talk about this evening?
One, I want her to talk about some of the ideas that she's going to be bringing to the table, how we're going to be looking towards the future of America, bringing unity back to this country, and making sure that our neighbors are not looked at as enemies. And that's what I'm looking forward to, and really seeing this place really fill up and ring throughout, and to hear some freedom. Right.
The last two presidential elections decided by less than 20,000 votes. Why do you think Wisconsin could go blue this year?
Well, I mean, again, with 20,000 votes is a very slim margin, and we know how purple the state is. But I truly believe that this message that the Harris-Walz campaign has been pushing out is resonating with all of our entire community in the state of Wisconsin. I truly believe that as long as we focus on the policies and show the stark contrast in the agendas being shared by the Democrats and the Republicans, people are going to come out in droves and making sure that we make history in November.
Okay, that was Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. David, thank you so much. I will send it back to the studio. Reporting in Chicago, I'm Dan Hagan for Newswatch 12.
Our own Dan Hagan joins us live from the floor of the United Center and has more. Dan?
Hi, Jessica. Yeah, the one big exception to party unity at the Democratic National Convention is this situation in Gaza and how the Biden administration has handled it. This has caused a lot of anger on the left, and that was exacerbated when Palestinian Americans were denied a speaking slot at the Democratic National Convention. Some people on the left fear with such a close election expected this November that this may alienate a core group of voters for Democrats, Arab Americans, who make up a sizable portion of the electorate in important swing states like Pennsylvania and Michigan. But if we want to zoom out for a moment right now, Kamala Harris, this is her moment tonight. She will have a chance to speak to millions of Americans. Some of them have never heard her speak before, and many of them are undecided and are looking for someone to support this November. She will have that opportunity tonight. Reporting from the DNC, I'm Dan Hagan for Newswatch 12.